So let's start off by talking about whether or not you should freelance. Are there good reasons to do it? Is it worth it? Can you do it? All those sorts of questions, because I imagine that's sort of the first thing that you're thinking as you dive into this. So let me start off with the first reason why I think you should freelance, and that is because you get to be your own boss. When you freelance, your freelance business is yours. And something that's important to me is it's something you can pass down to your kids. You can help build a legacy for yourself and help give them a head start. Now, I'm not alone in this being probably the number one reason that most people freelance, because according to a study by Upwork and Freelancers Union, those survey respondents said that being your own boss is the number one reason why they freelance. And again, you get to control your own destiny. You're not beholden to anyone else. You get to work on the things that you get to work on. You get to set your hours. Freelancers do tend to work a little bit more, but it's not crazy hours. The average freelancer works 46 hours a week. But ultimately, you get to decide that. And as you build your freelance business, you can sort of cut that back as you see fit, which is what I've done over the years. So again, you just are in more control. You're building something for yourself. You're building something that you can pass down to your kids, because no matter how good your job is, you can't pass that down to your kids, but you can give them your freelance business. So again, the number one reason to freelance is you get to be your own boss. You get to be in control of your own destiny. The second one is just sort of a more concrete thing, and that is on average for freelancers earn more than non-freelance workers. Now, this is according to a survey by Payoneer, and they've done several of these, and Upwork and some of the other platforms out there do these, and it's pretty consistent over the years. But freelancers, according to this survey, earn 19% more than non-freelancers. So globally, the average freelancer works 36 hours a week and earns an average of $39,000 a year. Again, that's globally. And if you compare that to the average income for workers globally, that number is $18,000 a year, which is according to the International Labor Organization. Now, some of these statistics are hard to get. So, again, I don't want to have you just 100%, these are exactly the numbers, but they give us sort of an area, and you can just see the dramatic difference between global average income between freelancers and your average worker. So again, on average, freelancers tend to make more. In the United States, freelancers make an average of $31 an hour, which is 19% more than full-time employees. Again, a study done by Payoneer. So just again, bottom line, sort of a logical black and white thing. As a freelancer, you will likely make more than you will as a salaried or hourly employee. So take that for what it means to you. Next one is better job security. So this is actually the biggest fear people have when they start freelancing. But as you become a freelancer, you'll actually soon realize that freelancing is more stable, because the reality is that any company can fold at any moment. The question that I think about, and I think a lot of freelancers come to realize as they do this, is how much control do I have over whether or not that company fails? And when you work for someone else, you often have very little input into the big decisions being made. So you have very little control over whether or not that company goes belly up. You could do a good job yourself, and that company could still go belly up. And I've experienced this myself. I've been part of a company where, in my opinion, and they obviously didn't get rid of me, so I felt like I was doing a good job, but the company was struggling and ran into issues, and that ultimately became a problem for me. One of the reasons why I began freelancing. So again, it's just a matter of how much control do I have over the situation. And with freelancing, you have 100% control over the situation. And that's why 63% of freelancers who were surveyed by Upwork believe that a diversified portfolio of clients is more secure than having a single employer. Because if one client has a problem or goes belly up, that's only part of your income, and you can usually quickly replace that with another client. So having a diverse set of clients ends up being more secure than a single employer. And again, that's why freelancers, as they freelance, start to believe that more and more. And that's actually up 10 points from just a few years ago. So again, more freelancers are beginning to realize that that's the case. The final thing then is just sort of the inevitability of all this. Again, according to a study by Upwork and Freelancers Union, by 2027, more than 50% of the workforce in the US will be freelancers. So over the next 10 years, we're all going to end up moving towards freelancing anyway. And then, those trends look to continue that way even beyond that. So we're moving more and more towards a freelance economy. And so there's just sort of an inevitability to this that we're all going to eventually head that way anyway. So why not get ahead of the game? So to sum it all up, it's sort of to help you make your decision whether or not you should freelance. Again, some good reasons to freelance. On average, you're going to earn more. You get to be your own boss. Freelancing is more job secure. It's inevitable that the economy is sort of heading that way anyway. So you might as well get started now. Build something that you can be proud of. Build something that you can retire on, and build something that you can pass down to your kids and give that legacy to them and help them get a head start. And again, the best time to get started is now, while all this is a transition, instead of waiting till later down the road and then sort of being behind the 8 ball with it. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about how to pick a niche and decide what services to offer. Maybe the most important part of this whole thing, because once you get that right, everything else is just a lot easier. So we're going to talk about that coming up. Also, what platforms to use. There are different freelancing platforms out there. You can build your own website, all those sorts of things. So we're going to talk through that a little bit. Then we're going to talk about how to build an audience of potential clients, because once you have your services down and in order, then you want to start building an audience around you of people that are likely to be interested in your products and services. So we're going to talk about how to do that, how to make sure and target those people correctly, and so forth. All that coming up in the next lessons.